facial expressions with this on. I'd be a king. But, oh, my hair's getting tangled. Shoot, shoot. Marvelous. Makes this situation look much more natural now, doesn't it? Well, good evening. I'm Old Man Observer. I know it's been a while since you've seen me, but it should be a good time to make a movie review. And can you guess which movie it is? No, of course not. You can't. Well, of course you did, because you read the title. We're doing Witches. The Witches, or whatever. Let's see, real quick. What was it called? Yeah, that's exactly what it's called. The Witches. And unfortunately, we're not talking about the Witches from 1990. We're talking about the brand new Witches remake, 2020, which aired on HBO quite fast. But yes, that's because a lot of things on HBO Max comes out real fast if you have that, so you can watch it a day earlier before it comes out. Now, I am Old Man Observer doing this because I thought it would be a fun experience. Even though you can't see my mouth move. And my glasses are getting foggy. Oh. I could always do this. It doesn't matter. I got me a nice flowing beard, a glorious white mane. But we begin our story like any other story. Within a story. Not entirely, no. Not entirely inside a story. But, the grandmother told the story of how her friend was expelled by a witch. Her friend went missing. Then next thing they know, she's inside a portrait. And over the years, she grew older and older, just like I am. I am very old. But in the end, one day she just was gone. She died while living inside a painting. At one moment she's feeding the birds, the next she's doing something else, yada yada yada. The grandmother explained how witches work. And what you can do to avoid being detected. One, do not shower or bathe a lot. A clean child smells like shit to them, while a dirty child is wonderful to them. Well, meaning they can't smell you from a mile away, because they can smell shit from a mile away, apparently. Even though they're horrible, stinking creatures witches are. I have hunted plenty of witches in my time when I was younger. I am not Old Man Observer for nothing. You whippersnapper. Ooh. I need to cut this beard and fix it. Yeah. It's a mess, and this hat does not stay on this head very well. I have too big of a head wearing this stuff. But it is something fault. But it is true. Witches are nasty. So why would they like sweet things, right? So they are. Oh dear. The witches. Yeah, they hate sweet stuff. So, like always. So, unfortunately, actually, did it happen in this version? He encountered a witch early on. and the witch, I can't remember. Did the witch do something to the grandmother in this version? But in this version, when he told her about the witch, she nearly had she collapsed. Almost had a heart attack, I suppose. But the doctor came in and said, "You need to rest, relaxation, get healed up." And so, what do you do to get the best relaxation possible? You go out on you go to a beachside vacation resort and have some fun. But things don't always go according to plan. Apparently, there's a big meeting for women of the child abuse organization, whatever, to keep children safe and happy. Which is, of course, a cover story. All of them are bloody witches. All of them are witches, and they must die. Then we encounter the main head witch pretty early on, just like in the original. But unlike the original, it is played. Well, both of them are pretty, even though the old one is now older. But this witch, the High Witch, is played by young Miss Anne Hathaway. Is she young? How old is Anne Hathaway? If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm looking stuff up right as I'm doing this movie review. 38 years old. Not bad for an for a youngster. I figured I'm an old man. I'm old man observer, and I'm doing the movie review. Yeah. Getting hair in my mouth. Yes, we come across the Grand High Witch, played by young Miss Anne Hathaway, which has a remarkable Romanian accent. Or Russian accent? No, it's Romanian. And like before, they have their meeting. But beforehand, the young boy is talking with his grandmother, talking about exploring. And the grandmother says, "Don't do anything reckless." And she takes a nap. So the boy takes the mice, because he does have mice still, at least one. I can't remember if he had one or two in this version. But he returned. He went to the foyer, where they have meetings and gatherings and such for groups like this. And this it turns out, and then unknowing the child told witches, the child has to hide because the witches are coming in for the meeting. Simple as that. All of a sudden they just come in, and he hides quickly underneath the stage. So they have everyone gathered. They lock the door to the ballroom or the foyer, whatever it is called, and then they take off all their masks. Well, they don't actually wear any masks. Even Anne Hathaway doesn't wear a mask in this version. All she does is take off her hair, and gloves, and shoes. This is a very, very poor design of a witch. I mean, seriously. Here's Google right now. This is Anne Hathaway right now in the Witches movie. Not bad. Looks like a regular old one until she takes off her skin. See, takes off her gloves. 3 fingers. Ugh. Her feet are even creepier. But look at this. This This is nothing compared to this. The original Grand High Witch from 1990. Much better effects. Played by this young woman here. What's her name? Angelica Houston. But enough of that. Enough of shaming the design. Because people can't make better designs. They just make it simpler, thinking it will be okay. Even though the original was much more scarier, much better. Even the actress did much better being an evil high witch. Being much more intimidating. Though, unlike Angelica Houston, unlike her, Anne Hathaway did kill 2 of her subordinates just for asking questions. So, rule 1 when talking to a Grand High Witch, don't ask questions. Just say hello, make a statement, and hope you don't get shot by magic-fingered laser blasts. But yes, so, like the original, she convinced a young fat child, Bruno, to eat a chocolate bar with a potion that would turn him into a mouse. Little drop. Because her plan, as the original, which I don't know who has seen the original or even this one, but the Grand High Witch's plan, she made a potion that can turn people into mice. And she wants to make candy stars. Candies filled with this potion. Batch 87 or something like that? And to... Is it hot in here or is it just me? Oh, just me. Being an old man, you still have some looks about. But yes, I am not scented. I just noticed that. I am not a scented old man. Much better. Oh, but yes, she made a batch of a personal blend of potion to turn people into mice. And she feed it to a fat, greedy boy. Which is funny because all the original was actually British, and the kids here are American, except for Bruno. He's British. So, like before, he comes in, says, "That woman promised me chocolate!" And the greedy boy gets what he deserves. Honestly, I don't see why he shouldn't have been turned into that. That's the thing. Some good kids should be free from witches, while others honestly deserve to be witchified. My question is, how are new witches born if witches hate children? Is it females that ought to be witches or something? Or witches just immortal in this universe? That's the big question. Yeah. So, instead, he manages to escape without being crushed because he did get turned into a mouse. And then, lo and behold, I smell dog shit. The other boy is found and turned into a mouse instantly by taking a huge gulp of the batch 87. And honestly, could have been better. The effects weren't as cool as the original. CGI has ruined everything. Yeah. I probably have snot in my nose. Nevertheless, so he escapes, and turns out his mouse was another child turned into a mouse years ago. But she never said anything. It's not like anyone would believe her. Apparently she's Southern. Who plays the female mouse? Cast. The female mouse, blah blah blah. Who was the female? Was it Christine Chen? What with? Probably. No. Was it? I can't remember. Well, regardless. Dang. There are a lot more people here than I thought there were in this movie. But, yes. So, they make their way back up the hotel because they live on the third floor. Or they're on the third floor, I think, of the hotel. Yeah, they're on the third floor. Why would you be on the third floor? I would be close to the fire exit. That's when you use your noggin. But they make their way up. Well, of course, coming up with some difficulties. After all, being a mouse in a hotel is not a good thing. But do you really want to be staying in a hotel filled with mouse? So if the staff find you, you're as good as dead. Or calling an exterminator to exterminate you. But they managed to make it safely to Grandma. Grandma didn't realize it was them and thought she was losing her mind for a second. But then she realized that the witches are there as she was listening to the son, the daughter, the young girl, and Bruno explain what the devil was going on. So they hatched a foolproof plan to get a batch of that formula and turn them into witches with the stew at dinner. And they succeed, narrowly. After all, the witch has a cat companion, and the only way to have a cat around the hotel is in a cat care. But the cat didn't care one way or another, but the witch did. But regardless, they do manage to sneak a bit of potion. One vial, which is enough to turn all the witches in the hotel into little mice. So what do? They head straight down to the kitchen, start putting it in the soup that they will eat. And because they're witches, they can't eat a lot of stuff, excluding garlic. So they eat like some clam chowder or whatever to get turned into a mouse. And then they start slowly turning into mice. But the Grand High Witch has apparently met the grandmother before. Which, in the original movie, apparently they did know each other before too. But unlike the original, this one, the Grand High Witch doesn't catch on to it until way later. Because in this version, the Grand High Witch, in the original version, the Grand High Witch was like, you! Because she remembered her immediately as soon as she saw her. But in this one, she had some inkling that she may have seen this woman before. But she fails to succeed. Because everyone hungrily delved into the soup. Into the delicious potion-filled soup. And then, one by one, boom, boom, mice everywhere, mice! The Grand High Witch herself. I don't remember, she did not drink a potion. She did not take a bite of the soup. What happened was they went straight to her room thinking she did. The four of them, the grandmother and the three children, mice. They went straight to the Grand High Witch's room to get the rest of the formula and to get the box filled with money. Because witches need money to do anything. But it's probably easier when you lived several centuries to save up money to open candy stores everywhere. But, yeah, the Grand High Witch did not turn into a mouse. So what happens? They have to forcefully feed her the formula, which was a huge vial, which they did via mousetrap catapult, which was quite brilliant in my opinion. That was awesome. Her transformation into a mouse wasn't as impressive again as the old practical effects, but since when did ever? I'll show you. Mouse transformation. Not going to bother showing the video because of copyright. Grand High Witch. There we go. You're going to love this. This is what the Grand High Witch with special effects, with proper special effects, looks like turning into a mouse. My God, it's hideous. Disgusting. Oh, vile. Yeah. And there's her in all her rat glory. Because she was a rat. But unlike in this movie, she did not get carved. Well, also, here are the three kids. So cute. Mice are truly cute. But that's we gotten beyond the story that we're trying to say. But she finally gets turned into a mouse like she deserved to be. Because she took a big swig of potion thanks to a mousetrap cannibal. And she gets trapped by her grandmother after she tried chasing them. Which she failed, of course, because since when does good triumph over evil? But the grandmother traps her in a vase and lets out the cat. Because this time, she mistreated a cat poorly, and the cat was pretty smart. So, what did the cat want to do? Eat its master. Could be worse. Honestly, it's a better better scene, because this time you know she didn't die by getting chopped with a butcher's knife like in the original. But trying to think. But yeah, so like before, I forgot to mention the story of the story was actually being told by the grandson himself, because mice don't live very long. Unfortunately, unlike in the original movie, there wasn't a happy ending. There was a mediocre ending. Exactly. They never turned back into human. They gathered an army of children to fight the witches, basically, by giving them a vat of potion to use against the witches themselves. But the grandmother was still the same age, but the mouse son was not. He pretty much aged at probably in 2 years, 3 years, he's already an old man in mouse form, because mice do not live that long. Why do you think they breed so much? Same with rats. It's all about claiming territory, not necessarily living for as long as you can. So that's why the ending was neither good nor bad. Now, I will tell you what is good and what is bad about this movie. A, it's updated. Of course, anything updated is a great idea. Not always well made. This was not well made by any standards. You see, there was too much CGI involved. The Grand High Witch was a joke. Anne Hathaway, man, she is a marvelous actress. In some cases. She was good in Les Miserables. She was good in a few other things. Let's see, what else was she in? She was good in The Princess Dives. She was good in Les Miserables. She was great in Ella Enchanted. She was not good in the Witches movie. Wait, she was in The Captain? Who did she play? The Captain is a Studio Ghibli movie, and I love me some Studio Ghibli. But yes, she was not good in this movie. Her accent was remarkable. She put her all into it, but they did not give her anything to work with. Seriously, they literally copied, cut, and pasted the lines from the original movie. Sure, they added some new stuff, and made the witch at least a little more, less patient. After all, she blew up a few of her witches just because they asked questions. But that doesn't make you a good villain. Seriously, there are plenty of people that blow people up by accident too. And those are even better villains or heroes. But I must say, she did good playing the character, but the character was boring. They gave her nothing to work with. Which begs the question, why did they decide to make a remake? This was already good. The special effects were much better than the CGI. Could be worse. Could always be worse. But that isn't it. Now, it's time for me to show you my true form, like a witch, and split. Look at this. Because when witches do this, they become ugly. But what happens when I do this? The light, I can see. It is very dark with shades. We might need not to do that again. Actually, it probably look better. But Old Man Observer is actually the handsome young Grand Observer. With messy hair because wearing a mask like this is a mess. But I hope you all enjoyed having Old Man Observer do the movie review. Oy. Since it's been a while since I brought that character out. And I thought it would be great for a reveal of having the Old Man Observer be like the witches. So, tell me what you thought of this movie review. Tell me what you thought of this movie if you've seen the updated 2020 witches. Because I still think the original was definitely the best. But this one definitely could have used a lot more pizzazz. Because the special effects and everything was much better in the original. People rely too much on CGI still. And it was done poorly. Like the mice in the original very rarely had the CGI effect when doing some movements. While this one, you could tell the mice were CGI and it looked so cheap. Like they were just trying to get it done. The puppets would have been better to bring back even if they added a new character. But it doesn't make any difference. It was an okay movie. Now, if you like it, please give me a like, comment, subscribe, tell me what your thoughts. So, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye bye.